Alright, I'm out here tinkering with these 318 heads I did a while back, these 302 casting number heads from a couple years ago, and finally getting around to put them on the car. And what I've got is a Chinese air gap intake, and it is sized for a 360 gasket and is actually pretty close out of the box to the 340, 360 size. And that's obviously what it's geared towards. And I made mine, I port matched them to a 340, but only on the top side, and I didn't bring the width out. I kept them the 318 width, and the floor is the same as the 318 gasket, and I just brought the height up. And I got to thinking about that mismatch, and I was going to buy another intake, and I was curious how significant it would actually be, and I've been kind of racking my brain about it. And let me show you what I got going here. This is what the gasket looks like on here. I see the floor is the same, but the roof is raised. I need to go get the 318 gasket too. Hang on a second. But as you can tell, I didn't bring the walls in or out, because that ends up making like a funnel, and I don't think that's a good thing. But the floor is a little high. The roof is basically where it's supposed to be, and then the sides are in just a little. Let me grab a 318 gasket. Alright, this is a 318, and you can see we're pretty close on the floor, sides, and then, like I say, the roof's up about 100 thousandths just to make the roof match the 340, and that's about it. But regardless, I was concerned about that mismatch. I've been trying to figure out a way whether it's worth changing intakes or not, and I've got a flow bench, so I decided to set it up with that similar mismatch of a little bit on the floor and then about 100 thousandths on the side, and the roof and the common wall is basically lined up, and decided to flow it like that because it's been my experience, if you flow it with no clay, it absolutely destroys it at higher lifts. Like at low lifts it doesn't bother it, but like above 300 to 400, something like that, it'll drop like 20 CFM, 25 even, just depends on the head. But I think it's worse the bigger the head gets, but because what's happening is the air's coming and catches that ledge and then tumbles around it, and it's happening from every direction, and then it basically makes that, well, shrinks the size of your intake port because there's turbulence, and basically makes its own radius. And by the time it makes its own radius from 360 degrees, your port's significantly smaller at the entry. So I think at least that's my theory on what's going on with it. But anyways, so that's what's going on, and I went ahead and flowed it, and with the clay perfect, like I've been working on the head, this is what it flowed. And my bench varies a little bit whenever it's like 100 degrees out versus 0 degrees out. Right now it's like 35 out here, so this is with the clay mismatched. It technically on paper picked up a little. I call that just within it's just a difference on the days and the air. It's got a correction in there, but I don't mess with it. I generally do all my testing on the same days, and then regardless, 2 CFM over, you know, a year's difference doesn't matter to me very much. But as you can see, it did not really hurt it whatsoever. So I think that's kind of put me at ease on this deal, and I really did not see that coming. I was expecting it to really screw stuff up, but it didn't. And then right at the end, I jerked the clay off of it, and it went 215. So it knocked it down that, what, 14, 15 CFM, having no clay. But I don't think I'm gonna lose as much sleep about the gasket match anymore. I mean, I'm still gonna do it anytime it's possible, but on a deal like this, it's a low budget thing. I really don't think it amounted to that much. So I just wanted to pass that along because I actually kind of surprised me. I was really expecting that to kind of wreck everything, and I was debating on buying a new intake to get around it. But I think I'm just gonna slap that sucker back on and go with it. So.